Hello, I'm Dr. John Iskander. Welcome to CDC Beyond the Data. I'm here today with Dr. Anthony Komaroff, Professor of Medicine at Harvard University. Thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure, John.
Dr. Komaroff, at today's session, the focus was on a disease often commonly still referred to as chronic fatigue syndrome. You've written very articulately about what CFS is and what it isn't. Can you just start with your perspective on that?
Sure. Well, what it isn't is the common periods of fatigue that nearly every human being experiences. It is a very unusual, prolonged, and debilitating state of fatigue with a group of other symptoms. I think the cardinal parts of the illness are what's called post-exertional malaise, where any kind of effort, physical but also mental, makes all of the symptoms worse following that effort, typically about 12 to 48 hours afterwards. A second big part of the illness is cognitive problems. A third part is unrefreshing sleep. People who basically never awaken feeling rested, even if, as far as they know, they had a good night's sleep and slept for many hours. And the last manifestation is orthostatic intolerance. People whose symptoms are made worse by standing up and maintaining an erect posture, and whose symptoms improve, if not being fully abolished, by lying flat or putting their legs up. Those are the cardinal manifestations.
So clearly what you just described differs significantly from, as you say, as ordinary fatigue or fatigability. What do we know about how common CFS is in the population?
It depends. There have been different case definitions of CFS, and depending on which ones you use, you get somewhat different answers. I think the best answer is in a range of between 4 and 8 per 1,000 adults. But it's higher in women adults, and it appears to be somewhat lower in children who get this illness as well.
So not an exceedingly rare condition.
No.
Have we, through research, developed some hypotheses about what some of the triggers or risk factors for this disease might be?
We know that many, but not all, patients with the illness, in my experience, the majority, say, I was perfectly fine until one day, and I came down with this flu or whatever. They describe an infectious-like syndrome with aching muscles, fever, swollen glands, gut symptoms, neurologic symptoms, and they say that acute illness got somewhat better, but I feel I have never recovered from that. And now it's months and years later.
Yeah, so we heard today, actually, I think that about 3/4 of cases
Yes.
may be preceded by some type of infection. We also heard from the National Institutes of Health about a research study that they're planning looking specifically at individuals with post-infectious CFS.
Right.
What might we hope to learn from that kind of research?
Well, I think the biological research that's been done so far, and an enormous amount has been done in the last 30 years or so that I've been involved with this illness. There's now over 9,000 published articles, and they point to abnormalities of the central nervous system, autonomic nervous system, immune system, and energy metabolism.